Welcome. I'm the Reverend Rali Weaver, and today is August 16th, 2020. I'm so glad to have you here for our tiny desk worship at the First Church and Parish in Dedham. I know these are hard times with all of us separate and a lot of what ifs and not knowing when we'll get back together. But it's nice to be together in this way, and I hope you will join us afterward for Zoom coffee hour. All the details can be found on our website at www.dedhamuu.org. Thanks for being with us. Our centering thought this morning is, love does not begin or end the way we seem to think it does. Love is a battle. Love is a war. Love is growing up. This is by James Baldwin. And now we will hear our prelude, played by Dari Dolezal. It's so good to be together. We still don't know if we can be together in person on our homecoming Sunday. We're waiting to see what the governor says, and you can find out for sure what's going to happen on the week before in your all church email, on our website, and on our Facebook page. We will, for the coming year, also broadcast the services in Tiny Desk Worship the same way we've been doing it every week. So if you don't feel comfortable coming to church, please know that this will continue, as will Zoom Coffee Hour. So whether we gather together in person or not, this will continue all year long. And I do hope that at some point during 2021, we will get together. Or 2020, that would be even better. We have many activities that go on at the church, including Zoom meditation every single morning from 9 to 9:25 or 9:30. Please join us. That's also on our website. We also have a Dismantling White Supremacy book group, and we have those discussions bi-weekly. We'll have one again next Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30. The information about that and the book that we're reading is on our website. Please consider joining us for these and all the events that are going on at First Church during these constricting times. And please also feel comfortable reaching out to me by phone or by email if you'd like to see me or if you need anything during this time. I love you, and it's good to be together. I invite you now to relax into our introit, There Is a Love, by Elizabeth Norton, played by Dari Dolezal. Our opening words this morning are an excerpt from Blessed Are the Poor by Nadia Bowles-Weber. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the wrongly accused, the ones who never catch a break, the ones for whom life is hard. For they are those whom Jesus chose to surround himself. Blessed are those without documentation. Blessed are the ones without lobbyists. Blessed are the foster kids, the trophy kids, and special ed kids, and every other kid who just wants to feel safe and loved and never does. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are they who know there has to be more than this, because there is. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are those who make terrible business decisions for the sake of people. Blessed are the burnout social workers and the overworked teachers and the pro bono case takers. Blessed are the kids who step between the bullies and the weak. Blessed are they who delete hateful and homophobic comments off their friend's Facebook page, and blessed are the ones who have received such real grace that they are no longer in a position of deciding who the deserving poor are. Blessed is everyone who has ever forgiven me when I didn't deserve it. Blessed are the merciful, for they totally get it. I'm going to light our chalice this morning for revolutionary love. That's our subject today, in all its many forms, all the ways people are transformed by love, and love is transforming our world. And I want to light our green sanctuary candle today for all the ways we strive to be a more sustainable congregation. I invite you now to join with me in singing our hymn number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. Please say with me the unison affirmation as is printed in your order of worship. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom. To serve humanity in love is our covenant with each other and with God. I'm going to invite our children forward for our intergenerational message so that we can open our listening ears.
Love grows 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and 4 by 4. Love grows round like a circle, comes back knocking at your front door. Love grows 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and 4 by 4. Love grows round like a circle, comes back knocking at your front door. Note by note we make a song, and voice by voice we sing it. Choir by choir we fill up the world with the music that we bring it. And love grows 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and 4 by 4. Love grows round like a circle, comes back knocking at your front door. So let me take your hand, my friend. We'll each take the hand of another. And 1 by 1 we'll reach round the world, like sisters and like brothers. And love grows 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and 4 by 4. Love grows round like a circle, comes back knocking at your front door.
Our first reading this morning is The Opposite of Hate by Sally Kahn. If a tiny spider can weave that long thread and swing 6 feet from one tree to another, shouldn't we, advanced human beings with our big brains and smartphones, be able to connect? These aren't just the peace and love platitudes of the person who sort of still believes in spiderweb strands are existential threads of the universe. Understanding and expressing our interconnectedness is the practical path to ending hate. It's what Martin Luther King Jr. meant when he spoke of the interrelated structure of reality, and what John Powell means when he talks about claiming a shared mutual humanity. And it's what every major religion teaches, though sadly it's not something all the followers seem to grasp. This sense of connection is not just some heavy abstraction, nor some bland platitude, but a transformational tool for finding our way out of hate and toward positive, more constructive alternative. We can relate to each other and to society in general ways, in ways that perpetuate hate. Or we can spread inclusion and equity and justice by choosing to connect. This does not mean connection is an easy choice. In fact, the world seems rigged against it. While I promise that none of us are hardwired to hate transgender people, or black people, or poor people, or Republicans, or Democrats, our tendency towards tribalism does make us quick to latch onto society's existing prejudices and to further burrow into historical habits of hate. Whether propagating resentment through media and electoral fear-mongering or through the less overt mechanisms of biased policing and segregating communities, we have to change not only our own hearts and minds, but the institutions and practices and systems and culture all around us. And the first step is challenging the hate inside of ourselves. I invite us into a time of prayer or meditation, as is your practice. And we begin by breathing in peace and breathing out love. Breathing in peace and breathing out love. Let us be grateful for all the silences in our lives, for with them we may more completely experience sound. I invite you to relax into Melody by Robert Schumann. Our second reading is Revolutionary Love by Ruby Sales. Revolutionary love is not punitive. It is not movement building. It is not punitive. It is redemptive. And in the work we do, as we think about how we might manifest that revolutionary love, it is not love that would allow us to bring down someone for what they do in 50 years or what they did 50 years ago, when they did not have the consciousness that we have today. Revolutionary love provides an opportunity for each of us to become something that we were not yesterday. It is a dynamic process. Revolutionary love is the process of building a beloved community in the midst of fragmentation, dehumanization, degradation, isolation, vilification. And finally, I wanted to say that the Ford Foundation released a report that said that in the year 2053, the black median income will be $0. By the year 2053, black medium income will be 0. The first time I heard that, I got pissed off. And what do you mean I won't have $0? But then I realized I won't even be alive. And so I realized if there was a horror story within that statistic that got caught up in my own ego about not wanting to have a 0 median wealth, that this country has issued a death warrant on young Black children today and those yet to be born. They do not intend for them to have a future. That in a world that is growing to be predominantly majority colored, in a world where the fertility rates of colored people outnumber the fertility rates of white socialites, these guardians, these cultural warriors that are guarding for a white supremacist global future, because they see futures as a challenge for the efficacy of white hegemony and white nationalist power. I say to you that revolutionary love begins right now in our hearts, to be horrified, to feel the plight of young Black children and today, and those yet to be born. To me, that is revolutionary love. I invite you to join with me in singing Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, printed in your order of service, hymn number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. I think even about 50 years ago, ministers from this church might have been calling people to a sort of righteous love. Righteous love, a pure side-choosing love, is what ministers even of more conservative congregations preach even today. But several years ago, I attended a multi-denominational Revolutionary Love Conference. I've attended that Revolutionary Love Conference at Middle Collegiate Church in New York City for several years. And at each conference I've attended, some critical voice from the crowd takes issue with the word revolution. They say things like, how can we have a revolutionary love? Aren't those words at odds? Or isn't love itself revolutionary? So isn't revolutionary love sort of redundant? And even, I don't like the word revolution. It sounds like war. Can't we think of some other modifier? Aren't we talking about radical love? In a world bent on destruction, I will admit that I think revolutionary love might be actually a very good idea. I think the word that really needs clarification isn't revolution, but love. Do we take Nadia Bowles-Weber's idea of loving everyone right where they are? Or Sally Kahn's definition of the opposite of hate actually being connection? Or Ruby Sales' definition of really seeing the plight of the poor and black and brown bodies? Or might we take Jesus's understanding of love, which might also be seeing and healing the plight of the poor and the disenfranchised. I believe that a revolutionary love contains all of that, and how we get there is what I want to talk about today. How do we start a revolution of love that loves everyone right where they are, for who they are, and helps to build connection and solidarity across divides, and in so doing helps the unseen be seen and heals the sick? You're starting to see how different revolutionary love is than righteous love that asks people to change. Don't you? Radical love means radical love means you love people where they are, and you have compassion for who they are, and you see who they are right now. In fact, it also means that you love yourself right where you are, and you see yourself right where you are, and you have compassion for yourself right where you are. Even in our families, where life is supposed to be the safest, we have expectations and needs. We have broken places that create walls in our togetherness. Injured hearts can create obstacles in the ways of loving people right where they are. Loving your family, even when they yell at you or they fight with you or they disregard you or see the world in completely different ways than you do, is very difficult. Loving all of our neighbors right where they are is not that easy either. But it's essential we love everyone, if only because the divisions that are keeping us all from working together is ripping apart our world. Genesis B., a young Black artist and activist from Mississippi and speaker at the Revolutionary Love Conference, has been working tirelessly to encourage the removal of the Confederate flag as the Mississippi state flag because of the flag's tie to racist and white supremacist actions. To do this, she is actually sitting down with people who disagree with her and listening to them and trying to find common ground. In speaking to us at the conference about the need for us to create conceptual resistance for the changes that are needed ahead, she pointed out the obvious but previously elusive truth that the best way to solve a division problem is to find the common denominator. With the help of groups such as the Middle Project, which also sponsors the Revolutionary Love Conference, Genesis B. began this process in Mississippi by approaching her high school classmates, the ones she had a shared experience with, but who were on the other side of the conversation about the Confederate flag. And she listened as much as she talked in an attempt to build on the common threads that connected instead of letting dividing lines of hatred and bigotry set them apart. Just sitting down and talking and listening can start to erase barriers. And this leads to the second radical love principle, which comes from Sally Kahn, another speaker at the conference, who called us to build bridges in between our divisions. In fact, radical love requires building bridges in a way that righteous love never could. In righteous love, one prescribed ideal of what is right and fair becomes more important than the person or people you're talking to. In radical love, our destinies become intertwined, and my success can only be in relationship to your success. My liberation cannot be found without your liberation. In fact, another speaker, Sister Simone Campbell, a Roman Catholic nun who belongs to the Order of the Sisters of Social Work, said that for a new world order based on love would require 4 virtues for the 20th century. The first being holy curiosity, which starts with approaching everyone's stories with curiosity and listening deeply to their stories. The second she calls sacred gossip, which is retelling stories of connection and real stories about what she finds out. It is in the real stories we find the ideas that will help us progress to new answers. Her third value, she said, is joy, because if we don't cultivate joy in the process of changing the world, we will lose hope. And finally, she reminded us that the last virtue is always doing our part, whatever that is. That doing our part is what will help change the system of wealth and inequality and systemic racism. These four virtues, holy curiosity, sacred gossip, joy, and doing our part, are paths we can take right where we are to create the value of radical love within our hearts and in our workplaces and in our families. Our deacon, Andrea Gilmore, took these four virtues to our management company that deals with the church endowment and told them that she noticed that all of their investment managers were white, and she was curious about their policy on diversity. I love this question because it is a simple opening of curiosity in a place of power, offering a potential for change and reflection. In asking this simple question, Andrea brought curiosity and reflection to a place she could. And then, when her fellow deacon, Jen Atkins, retold this later at a parish committee meeting, she was sharing sacred gossip that made us all aware of ways we might also be able to ask questions wherever we are. Finding ways forward amid our divisions is radical love. In our over-romanticized individualist society, really considering the stories and the plights of those who are most affected and hurt is the step that civil rights activist Ruby Sales spoke of. Keeping our eyes trained on the truth of the mess around us will help us find ways forward that keeping our eyes shut at a comfortable distance never will. Perhaps there are times for bombs and lines in the sand, but bombs and lines in the sand could never, ever be the only tools in our toolbox. Because just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to this radical love. And I do this by listening and sharing and laughing and singing like we will right now. I invite you to sing with me, Just as Long as I Have Breath. Number 6 in your hymnal, Just as Long as I Have Breath. Fix our steps so we stagger not in the uneven motions of this world, but go steadily on our way, neither centering our journey by the weather we meet or turning aside from anything that might befall us. Amen. Please join me for Zoom coffee hour.